Boa noite.
We will speak Portuguese in some next week.
You probably don't know much more about the film than its title. Everything will be fine, and it sounds like a promise, right? And it is a promise, because sometimes things can happen to you in your life that you would like to disappear or make unhappen, and you can't, because they're going to stay with you. And then I think it's good if somebody tells you everything will be fine. And if you believe that everything will be fine, it helps to make everything fine. It's a very intimate story. I'm not going to tell you about the story, but I'm going to tell you about the reason why I wanted to do this in 3D. Because as you all know, these days, films in 3D are generally action movies and animation films and blockbuster movies. And this is the very opposite. This is a very slow and subtle, it's a family drama. It's something that can happen to each of us. So it's a very existential situation. And I was convinced that 3D was the best possible language to tell this. And I hope that some of you will agree with me when you see the film, because 3D does something. If you forget about the effects, and if you forget about the special effects, and if you forget about all the action films you've seen in 3D, and if you just try to think of the way you see me now, and the way you see somebody sitting in front of you, and the way you feel everybody's presence, it's in 3 dimensions, and you don't even have to put the glasses on. And normally when you see a film, it is flat. And the flatness of the screen creates a certain distance. And you know, because it's flat and because it's on a canvas, like a painter paints a canvas or a photograph, that it is not life. In 3D, you can show reality in a different way. If you give up on the idea that it's supposed to be made for action and roller coaster rides, if you just look at it phenomenologically, how your eyes work, then you realize 3D is a great chance to look at the world differently. Because all of a sudden a person on the screen is no longer on the screen, but is a little bit in front of the screen or behind the screen, and the screen really becomes a window into the world. And the most amazing thing about 3D is not that it has depth and space, but that people have a different sort of presence. You are with your actors and with these people in a whole different way. I discovered that when I was making a documentary. It was Pina, maybe some of you have seen Pina. And for this film I needed 3D because I wanted to be with the dancers, and I wanted the audience to really be in their state of mind and in their kingdom, and that kingdom of dancers is space. So I was so happy that finally I found a language that allowed me to go into space with the dancers. And only at the very last day of the shooting, when I was so preoccupied with space and with the depth of the perception, and only on the very last day of the shoot, we did something very, very simple. I made a portrait of each of the dancers. A very simple thing. They were just sitting in front of the camera, looking at the camera. And I thought that was the least impressive thing we did in the entire movie, because everything else was dancing in choreography, and the camera was penetrating into the space, and it was adventurous. And then I thought, well, a person in front of the camera can't be so exciting, but I want to do it anyway. And these portraits of people in front of the camera shot in 3D were the most unbelievable thing we did on the entire film. Because I realized, and I had goose pimples with each and everybody, I never seen in a movie the presence of somebody so closely, and I never felt I was actually with these people in the room. And I felt their aura. And I thought I could touch them, and I thought any story that would tell me, that would draw me into the space of the actors with this language, wow, that can only be so much more immersive. And that's when I started to dream of a film that you're going to see now. Everything will be fine. So I hope you forget all your prejudices about 3D. You better forget all your prejudices. Because you probably forget very quickly that you're watching 3D, because our 3D is not an effect language. It tries to be as correct as possible for your eyes and work as healthily as possible, because when you watch 3D, your brain has to use other parts than when you watch a normal movie. And if it's cutting too fast, or if it's doing all sorts of things, then you can get seasick and you can get sick and tired of 3D. We avoided all this, so you probably after a few minutes forget that you're watching 3D, which is something I like a lot. So I'm going to take you to Canada, and I promise you at the end you're going to be back here in this one. Everything will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you.